Hey guys, it's Amarine, and it is, I always forget my dates, not what day it is, I always forget to say the dates. It is August 11th, 2011, and it is a beautiful Thursday. I have to go to work today, which makes it seem slightly less beautiful, but that's okay. Alright, so, as you can tell, this is my awesome haircut. I promised you guys a lovely video in which I wrapped up the whole hair saga and talked about all the feelings that I feel inside about my hair. And honestly, I don't think I've ever had so many feelings about my hair in my life. And I will probably watch it with a interested eye after this, but not have so many feelings inside anymore. I'll probably go back to regarding it as a rather interesting clump of proteins protruding from my scalp. So, although I had really kind of made a decision and I had thought about it and processed it, it brought up last minute fears, or not really fears, trepidations, I would say, worries that I had about it. And I thought about them and I was like, this is silly, you know, I've wanted this a really long time, what's going on? And I pretty much came up with two things, sort of, that are connected. One is that a lot of the thoughts that I had were things just like, I feel like I'm giving something up with this, and what am I giving up? So part of that is that I was worried that people wouldn't. I was worried about people's reactions, and that's not what I was thinking at the time. At the time, I was thinking that I was worried that I was giving up a piece of myself, or I was giving up something in the world that was kind of mine, that I had done. I mean, it's not a huge accomplishment growing out your hair. All you have to do is not cut it. Something that had kind of been attached to me a little bit. People had said, that's really beautiful, which is not obviously what I wanted to hear, but, or they'd appreciated it, or something that had always sort of set me off. I've been growing it for 12 years. No one else my age really had hair that long. It was just sort of like a unique thing for me. And I realized that part of the reason I was concerned is because of everyone's, people's reactions. Not because I was worried about their reactions, and them judging me, because I've never really been worried about that. Exactly, it was more, this is the second part, it was more that I was concerned that I'd take it off, and their negative reactions to my new, not my new identity, but the identity that I have inside, or they wouldn't see what I was doing, and they wouldn't realize that it was something that I'd always wanted to do, and they wouldn't realize that it was a better fit for me. They would just say, you know, oh, you're trying to be cute, you're trying to be a dyke, you're, you know, whatever. And I didn't really want to deal with that, and at that point I was like, hey, suck it up, and realize that people are gonna say and think whatever. You can try to explain it to them, and whatever, you know what, just that I needed to make my own choices, and that I needed to do what I wanted to do, and focus on what I wanted to do, and not feel guilty. I wasn't gonna feel guilt about this. I wasn't gonna feel like I was taking anything away from myself or anyone else. I was gonna realize that it was a choice that I was making, and I was happy about making it, and so far that's worked out really well. The other thing that I thought kind of last minute was that I want I wanted to make sure that I wanted to do this, which sounds really weird because obviously I did, but I wanted to make sure that it wasn't, something that wasn't me, that I myself was, besides what the people would think. I was truly worried that I was doing it just to pass, just to, be a guy, whatever, be a guy, just to, follow that path, and, I thought really hard about it. Apart from what other people would think or judge, I was just like, alright, this is me, what do I think? And apart from what society's told me my whole life boys and girls look like, what do I think? And I thought about that, and I really realized that, well, I'll tell you the story. I got up at 9 o'clock in the morning yesterday. I don't think it was 'cause I was gonna cut my hair that day. Maybe it was. I couldn't sleep, and it was really bright outside. Really, really bright. So I went outside, and if you can't tell, I'm in a different place today because it's super sunny where I usually film, and I would be glowing again, and I wouldn't be able to see the camera. It's so sunny. So I'm under a tree now, but I live in the woods, not like in the sticks. I just, like, in our neighborhood, the houses are all nicely spaced apart, so there's a nice kind of area of trees around each house for the most part. I just went outside on the back porch, and I just stood there, and enjoyed the feeling of the breeze in my hair and everything, and just kind of, sometimes it helps me to just go out and isolate myself from everything and just sort of think. So I did that a little bit. A quote from Shakespeare came into my head because I was tired, very tired, and because it was really, really sunny, and that's from Hamlet. And there's one point at which Hamlet is kind of doing this double, everything he says has meaning, and most people are familiar with this, but if you're not, he's pretending he's mad, but everything he says has a double meaning, and he says, "Not so, my lord, for I am too much in the sun." Which has always been sort of a significant quote that stuck with me, and for me it was that he was too much under scrutiny, he was too much in the daylight, and he was too much exposed to be able to show his true self. He needed a mask to do what he needed to do because he was in the society's daylight too much to get at the truth of things. And there's another quote about that in a really famous poem by Oscar Wilde. I'm going to butcher it if I try to say the poem because I haven't memorized it, but just about the famous one where they're talking about the two guys passing in the night because they met. I think that was because we met not in the sacred night, but in the shameful light of day. Again, something kind of more in the queer community, but a similar quote, and how I had used my hair as something for myself, not just to shield myself from presenting as a man and being, people not getting that, so I could sort of safeguard my identity as I grew up in the area in which I live, but also something that I had said, I'm not seen as who I am, and I have to work extra hard to be seen as who I am, because I can't just cut my hair, I can't just go out without a shirt on, I can't do those normal things and be seen as the man that I am. And so the long hair was sort of this ironic, look at me, I have to go through all this extra stuff, through how society perceives me to still be a man. So it also had this attached masculinity, sort of, in a really odd way for me. But I was like, I'm going to take this step, and I'm going to claim my identity, and I'm going to start trying to present, and I'm going to start trying to be like, this is who I am, and I'm going to step up and be brave. Not that brave, I mean, there's a lot braver things people can do in the world, but when I was driving there, I felt really brave. I felt like it was because of all that the haircut entailed, not just because I was getting my haircut, but because of all that it entailed and all that it meant to me. I felt like it was something that was really scary, and I can't just, decide I don't like it, and it'll be all back. It'll be, back in a month or a year even. And I've decided that bravery is, for me at least, stepping into the unknown, the absolute black unknown, because there's a better cause out there, there's something better that you're doing. And that's a really lame example, it sounds like, but for me, it was a big step. It meant a lot. I mean, for some guys, like, shooting up with T is their first big step. And and identifying who they are, like their T-Day, and for me, it felt like, it felt like a birthday in a way. And probably a lot of you guys don't have the same experience, but I am gonna be honest on here, and that's what it felt like. It felt really good. I'm not gonna show you pictures, again, with the honesty, I'm not gonna show you pictures of my hair before. Out of the ponytail, I said I might, and I'm not doing that. That hair and what I look like was part of a shield that was sometimes good and sometimes bad, that I used to deal with how people reacted to, and I used to my identity, and I used to safeguard who I was. And I've decided to own that even more, and I'm not going to show you what that looked like. I'm going to be very honest about who I am, and especially when it comes to gender here, and you're not going to see that. So sorry if you're looking forward to that. If you're watching this and you have met me, then you've probably seen, before this point, then you've probably seen my hair. So you've seen it, and if not, then you don't need to know. You don't need to see it. So, yeah.